Hello everyone, this is Chala Dinkoy, CEO and founder of The Repositioning Expert, coming to you with Tea Time with Chala, Tuesday Tea with Chala. I'm so happy on this summer night to be with you. There's some sort of ringing in the background of my condo. I have no idea what is going on, but hopefully you can't hear it and it's not going to bother us. So the topic for today is when there is interest but no sale, and it comes from, as all my topics do, my everyday life of my clients asking me questions, coming to me with their problems, wanting to meet with me. And this came from a beloved former client who wanted me to meet with her new partners for a very hot, interesting, very time valid specific, COVID specific product that they are launching. And the problem is, of course, that there is a lot of interest, but they're being told that they have to wait for the change in government. They have to wait for a change in circumstance. They have to wait for legislation. They have to wait for direction. And my question back to them was, is this really a true objection, or is it just not a viable proposition? So the question that I want to answer for you today, while I sip my little tiny tea, is whether it is a true objection and what you can do if you're stalled in the sale. And I am a marketing guru, but I've learned a lot about sales, and I bought a lot when I was a marketing manager at these large companies at Pepsi, Pizza Hut, Frito-Lay. So now I teach companies how to sell to the big guys, and I know exactly what's going on. I've never operated during a pandemic, but I can tell you some of the ways that you can move things forward if you are also stuck with clients that are interested but they're not buying. And here are some ways to deal with it. So the first thing that I would say is there true interest? When you think there is interest and people are saying, well, that's really interesting. Well, a lot of people, when we do our research with my clients on how to determine the right niche, what we find is a lot of people do say, yes, that's interesting, but when we ask the additional questions of how much would you be willing to pay, would you be willing to let us come in to talk to you about that problem right now, how much is the problem costing you, and so on. These are some of the ways that we find out if there is a true problem. And then, of course, what we also ask, hi Vesna, is there a bigger, costly, and persistent issue that you have in your company right now around whatever the topic is that they cover, whether it's HR or whether it's leadership coaching or whatever it is, or whether it's safety. So the first question I have for anybody who's stalled in their sales is there true interest? And how would you know if there's true interest? You would talk to other people in the same industry who are decision makers and who you concept test it with them, and you go, well, this is the proposition, this is the problem that it's helping, this is the cost that it's helping provide as a cost saving by solving that pain. So do you think this is the right thing for you? Would you be interested? If not, how long down the road would you be interested, and what is preventing you, or what could prevent you from buying today? So then you gauge true interest in that industry and the appetite for that concept or for that product. The second is, I would question, is this the right target? Have you gone after the right target? And it could simply be just re-gauging and talking to 5 new different industries or interest groups to see if there's any appetite for that concept. And I give you all this because for 20 years, I concept tested brand new products every year, while I worked for the 18 years. And then afterwards, I had the privilege of working with my own clients for the 7 years that I've had my own business, where I've actually had clients who came to me with these, for example, they'd invested in a software that they wrote, or they had launched a product that they invented, and they were in the position of people are saying they're interested but nobody's buying. Well, if nobody's buying, the pain isn't high enough. or you're talking to the wrong target. You need to talk to the right target who has the right amount of pain. So first step was figure out if there is truly interest or it's just a soft no. Second is figure out if it's the right target, and the way to do that is to talk to other people in that industry who are decision makers and figure out if they're interested, and talk to other industries. So simply, just quickly, within a week, you can knock off talking to 5 people in 3 different industries that you haven't previously spoken to about this, and see what their appetite is like, what the price point they're at for your product or service, and how big the problem is that you're solving for them. The third is whether the product or service that you're trying to sell is positioned and messaged correctly. Because 1, sometimes it can be confusing. 2, it can be not very compelling. 3, it can be not pain-based. So all those factors, and 4, it could be undifferentiated. So, they're saying, well, hey, we're already doing that. We already have that. Why would we have another one? So if all of those factors are not crystal clear and crisp in your positioning and messaging, then they're gonna stall because they don't really need it. There's not enough pain, they're not convinced enough, and it's just a soft no. These are all the mitigating factors that used to happen to me when I was never a purchasing manager, but I purchased a lot of services and products when I worked in brand at those giant companies. So if any of those things were off, obviously I was not interested. So look at those things. Then the last part is how to find the sweet spot. So how do you find the right positioning and the right industry to target, or the interest group to target, is the research that I'm talking about. And I'm gonna have a chance to show you all this again in another B2B elevator pitch bootcamp that we're live launching in just 3 weeks, I think it is. It's gonna be on September the 14th. And we don't have a URL yet, but it's probably going to be repositioner.com/bootcamp, just like the last time. And there, in this free training, I will give you the actual steps of the research that you need to do to find out your sweet spot. But if you haven't done the research and you're trying to sell this new product or concept, it's going to be hard going if the concept is not matched properly with the market need in the right industry with the right messaging. So those are some of the things that could be holding you up if you say there's interest, but there's no takers. And the last is, the only thing that I could say is start from the reverse. When you're starting a new, when you're thinking about even a new project, a new business, a new product, a new service, you have to concept test first. That's what we did. If we were gonna launch a new bottle, when I worked at Smirnoff, or a new flavor extension, we would go and we would do a concept test. We would literally take a cardboard, a concept picture of what it looked like, and then we would write what the flavors were, we would write what the aromas were, and then we would say who it was for, and then we would concept test it with different groups. We would concept test different prices. We would concept test different bottles, different, label designs, different packaging. All of that had to be tested with consumers. So how can, small businesses like us imagine that they can guess at it without consumer testing it? I know you don't have as many resources, but that's why I've created a way for you to do it within 2 weeks and for free. So that's what could be holding things up. Now, how can you, once you've checked everything, how can you make sure that you can move things faster? And quite a few of my clients are complaining about this because of, the political climate, the timing of the elections in the US, and because of the pandemic. And so they're stalled as well, but they're saying there's interest, and they're saying, oh, we're anticipating closing sales any minute. What I would love for them to do is to continue to seek out new ways and new markets and new positioning and new messaging to continue to do something without just waiting. The other thing is you can try to become more relevant to the people that you're waiting on. And in order to do that, you increase your visibility to them. So you increase your usability and visibility. So that could mean anything from sending them articles related to the decisions that they're waiting on in terms of legislation. It could mean just checking in with them, you know, having like a half-hour lunch where you send them lunch. And I love this concept where people are doing this. You send them lunch and you have lunch, and you both have lunch, virtual lunch on Zoom. And you can just check in with them if they're willing to do that. If not, send them things that are relevant, send them news that are relevant, but just be on their radar and always talk about their problem and how you have the solution to that problem, and be in their radar, on their radar, in multiple ways. So, you know, be in their stream if they're looking at social media, be in their email box, be in their voicemail, be in their LinkedIn voicemail, be in their association newsletter, be everywhere, so that they keep seeing you and that you always become more relevant than the other guy who's trying to sell them something else. So that's how, when there is interest but there's no sale, check whether that's just a soft no, or if there truly is interest and if there truly is a need. Because what I maintain is, if there is truly a need, if the pain is big enough, they will get it. They will get it. Or you can find someone who has pain big enough to get it. So that's my 2 cents. And I just read today also that Bill Gates was talking about how, well, they asked him to sort of predict, you know, the world of business and what's going to happen. And what he's saying is that he doesn't really anticipate a widespread vaccine that's going to be long-term effective. He anticipates a short-term effective one, maybe by the end of 2021, but really he doesn't anticipate a big one by 2022, where, you know, life is going to go back to normal. So if you're waiting for the COVID to be over and businesses to open and everything to go back to its usual pace, it's going to be several years before that happens, is what he's predicting. So whether you have to pivot or whether you have to reinvest, readjust, whatever it is that you're doing, give it speed. Make sure that you are well prepared and you're set for the new reality. Just like how I've ported my funnels of sales from in-person to online, and I'm working hard, and I've just hired a new team, and everything is working towards social selling for me, because that is the world I now have to operate in. And I'm doing more virtual conference speaking and virtual conference attending. So things are coming back even for me, but only virtually. So I want you to, reassess, if you haven't already done, about what the new reality for you is going to be, and then take whatever you can to invest in your time or your money, whatever's left, in trying to reinvent yourself, because otherwise there is no guarantees for anyone, especially if you have a business. So I'm hoping that that's going to give you encouragement, hope, and I'm here every Tuesday. So if you have comments, questions, I welcome them. I usually base what I'm going to be talking about on Tuesday, as I said, from my real life of living things in real time with my own clients, and I want you all to learn from it. And we're going to be pumping out more content coming up to September 14th, which is the live launch again. If you went through it the first time, please go through it again. You get something new every time. You hopefully got value out of the last time if you were here. And there's going to be a lot of people joining us, a lot of new people joining us, both in this group, which is good for you because you guys can do networking together, and both in the registration for the bootcamp. So I will see you next Tuesday, everyone. Have a good one. Take care.